Titans. Always a team to look out for. Very competent, very efficient, even in their recent history of the IPL. Let's look ahead to the team led by Shubman Gill in IPL 2026. Got the head coach in Abhinav Mukund, the captain in Faf du Plessis, the analyst in Gaurav Sundaraman. Let's look at what the additions were like. Very typical GT, dare I say. As we look at their squad, Jason Holders joined them, Tom Banton, Luke Wood, Ashok Sharma, Prithvi Raj. Nothing that screams for the headlines, and yet we know more than capable T20 players with lots of experience. Rashid Khan is a big question mark, given the form that he's had, but I don't think there's any doubt that we're going to have a lot of expectation from Rashid Khan. Glenn Phillips, what can we expect from? And of course, Shubman Gill, Sai Sudharsan, who was so good for them last season. And hopefully Kagiso Rabada is fit and available for the entire season, a player that they did miss last year. GS, get into that ideal playing 11 and what that immediately tells us.
Yeah, the first shocker was Shafin Rutherford being released, traded, right? That was like, I just felt he had a good season. He did a good job. He came in and he played a very good role for Gujarat, actually. It's not like he just came in and smashed, and he was very reliable. But it was very surprising to see them let go of Shafin Rutherford, and then they didn't really fill that gap in the auction as well. So
tell us what they're thinking there for.
So that is where I think the late flourish of Washington Sundar last year at the top of the order could have played a role in them thinking that let us use his batting. Sure. To be fair, the little opportunities got for India as well in that game in Australia, he did a good job. And they're massively relying on the top three to again kind of deliver. And Jos Buttler is coming off a pretty tough World Cup. So we'll have to see what that turns out.
Now, the captain was shaking his head when you proposed the idea of the thinking of Washi being the number 4 or someone who will fill in for Rutherford. They also have Glenn Phillips, who has been injured in the past. So I wonder if they're thinking Phillips is going to be a fixture, permanent fixture in that team.
Yeah, just as captain, I would absolutely be 100% against the trade of Rutherford. Like, it was such a important weapon that they had last year, and if someone is doing well for you, why would you trade him? So I'm going to ask the owner.
As the owner, I'm going to tell you that we are going to look forward, Faf, and not behind. Those were circumstances beyond our control.
But you don't replace him. Like, if it was for a local guy, I'd go, yes, well, that makes sense. So you look at all the other trades. Donovan Ferreira, Nitish Rana, local player for an overseas player. Great trade. Makes a lot of sense. Samson, great trade. This one I'm going, he didn't trade, it was just cash, right?
Yes. All right. Now, on that note, I remind everyone as the owner's man over here that we are only focused on the team.
Okay, I have a sneaky feeling that Washi was not happy at the amount of chances that he was getting, and he wanted to go. The only way you accommodate him in that top 5, 6, if you think Washi's skill set is a big asset to your team, is by letting go of Rutherford. And that's something the Gujarat Titans have always prided them. They have like a very tight unit, and they want to keep their players who they believe is in their scheme of things. So that is the only reason. I'm shooting in the dark here.
Yeah, so as the owner's man, I should have asked the coach to answer that, because the coach is very powerful at Gujarat Titans.
And he says he has a sneaky feeling, but he told it with a lot of
pride. As the coach, because I wasn't part of the meeting with the coach.
This is typical Ashish Nehra.
Coach, would you have let Rutherford go?
Oh, no, I wouldn't have.
But Ashish, to simulate, Ashish said Sharfine wanted to go. So then he just...
that makes sense. If you get that a lot in the IPL, is that, I want to have more of a role, you're not backing me, otherwise I'm going because someone else will see me with more value.
Correct.
All right.
We heard of all of those rumors before the auction. So.
Okay. Are we similar story, though, that the reliance on the top 3 remains immense? And Buttler, as GS points out, comes from a tough World Cup. Sometimes that doesn't matter. People hit the IPL ground running. But do you see that remaining the single point, most important point, that if GT are to be successful, once again, top 3 have to score, otherwise they're weak?
I think they've built their side around it. But how many times can you expect it? Last year, only 2 games that the top 3 didn't bat till the 15th over. And I think one of them or 2 of them they lost. But do you expect that cyclone to hit again? No. It's a very difficult ask from those 3. I think
to turn it around, though, Abhi, if they have a fully firing Phillips, who's a proper number 4 or 5, you have Jason Holder, you have Tom Banton, there are players who can be the bridge between the top 3 in the Tewatia and Rashid Khan to follow.
I think Rabada misses out in my team.
Rabada misses out in your team. Ooh, but that's a big one because he's a big price player, and They could have let him go out of the big auction, but they retained him, which only tells me that
I think one
whatever
of
it is,
Holder
it's
or Rabada might just end up playing. But if Butler's a lock-in, Phillips, Holder, then you've got to play Rashid Khan, right?
Yeah.
They've
And the
got
thing is,
Mohammed Siraj, they've got Prasidh Krishna.
correct.
They've bought
fast
Ashok
bowlers.
Sharma, who's
They do have
done
fast
well.
bowlers, yeah.
They have a lot of fast bowlers.
So
They
Holder is
love their
that
fast
bridge for
bowling.
me. So yeah, maybe KG sits out in that team.
So Holder and Rabada perhaps.
I think I agree now because you cannot replace Phillips because then everybody who bats at 4, like 4 is Washi, 5 is who? Rahul Tewatia is a bit too early for Rahul Tewatia. Shahrukh Khan maybe at 5 and then 6 is Holder, 7 is Tewatia. That's how it
And with
pans
the
out.
impact player, you have 7 bowling options
Yeah.
there if you don't play Rabada also.
That's very Ashish Nehra again. He has a lot of bowling options usually in his team.
So if
think Holder
Washi
will-
plays, Phillips plays.
So if the
Rashid
biggest
plays.
point of question is who is going to be the middle order now? What is that plan according to you? According to you, it's Washi 4, Phillips 5?
Washi 4, Phillips 5, and I totally agree with what Abhi said. That also the combination still looks good with Holder instead of KG. There.
Okay, so Washi,
So
Phillips
6
and Holder, no
Tewatia.
Rabada.
Yeah.
Tewatia 6, 7 Holder, 8 Rashid.
Perfect.
And no Rabada on this side.
Possibly a Shahrukh Khan.
Yeah, and Ashish Nehra gets the best out of these Indian domestic pacers, which they have plenty of. So I agree with that.
KG to be used strategically then?
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean, it's
some games,
it's,
some
it's, obviously, if you look last year, his IPL record wasn't shooting the lights out. So in terms of that, form played a role. But I understand buying the all-rounder and Holders had a really good year. The last year he's done well. He's bowling in all facets of the game. So he can bowl the overs that KG bowled as well.
All right.
A quick question to Faf, just on your experience, how easy is it to make these decisions to ask like KG to sit on a bench, like such a big player? How do you kind of how do you manage that? There are some people who are good in the bench, there's some people who may not like to be in the bench. So how does that work?
Yeah, great question. I think it depends on who leads the team. Is it the captain that leads the team, or is it the coach that leads the team? Or is the captain that guys that have to build the relationships and make sure that if you drop someone as the captain, you can go to someone, and because they trust you in terms of you as a person, then they will accept it a little bit better. But if there's no trust and its decision gets made like on the bounce, then that can cause quite a lot of stuff in your change room. So once again, if it's the coach, if it's Ashish Nehra, he will have to understand, and he's very experienced as a coach, that KG in my dressing room is important. I can't have a senior player not on board with us this season. So how I manage him in terms of not picking him will come from a lot of good conversations leading up to the point of dropping him, for KG to realize that actually this is right now our best balanced team.
Last one over there. If you are to leave Rabada out and play Holder, which seems to be the direction that you all have taken, how does that make the bowling look? Siraj, Prasidh Krishna, Rashid Khan. Now Holder is a 4-over banker.
Yeah.
Over
Sai
Rabada
Kishore.
is a 4-over banker, and Sai Kishore as well. Then you
Yeah.
have a lot of part-time
And you have
options.
Glenn
You're
Phillips
happy.
as well.
Options. You have so
Washi.
many options. You've got Washington Sundar, you've got Phillips who can bowl a couple. You can play Shahrukh, you can play Ashok Sharma, you can play any of the other guys. They
Fair
used
enough.
Arshad Khan last year.
Yeah.
So I don't think bowling.
Not an issue. Last one, spin hitter is a weakness you've put in your report as well. Dominant spin hitter with the bat.
Yeah, that's because the middle order has Glenn Phillips, Shahrukh Khan and Rahul Tewatia. So obviously teams would look to attack with spin, and that's where last year Gill, Sai, Butler always batted till the 15th, 16th over, so that was not exposed as much. So
Okay.
they'll have to do that.
Right, looks like it's a similar sort of story, but we'll see how it plays out for GT. They did make the playoffs last year. Are they going to make the playoffs this year? How far will this team go? GS.
No, they will not make the playoffs.
Not make the playoffs for GS. Faf.
No.
Abhi.
So DC was 4, GT is 5. So I'd love to. They are very close for me. GT are very close.
But then it's not.
No. It's a no. Okay.
Okay, there you have it for the Gujarat Titans. That is our preview ahead of IPL 2026 for Shubman Gill.